Thanks for tuning in to the Invest Miami 2023 launch conference. You're about to watch panel number 2, Future Focused, how decisions being made today will affect the county's future. Enjoy.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Capital Analytics, for including Miami among the markets that you promote. Your team is fantastic, and the quality of your publication, both your digital and your print version, are best in class. And I can't wait to get my hands on the copy of your publication. So everyone's going to have to wait till the end of this event, and they will be available to you. So the perspectives on this panel consist of some of the private and public leaders that are making decisions to better position the county for a successful future. And I'm really excited to be on this panel because I just think it's a great mix of people who I know and have admired. And I actually have a little bit of history with all of the organizations that they're involved with. So I'm just gonna segue just for a moment. So Jason and I go way back. Actually, he is one of those founders when we talked about Miami being a top 10 startup city. Well, he has a startup business. It's 10 years old now, I suspect. And it's just an amazing story. So we're going to segue a little bit and learn a little bit about them. But I was actually one of his first clients and advertisers. I provided him with an electrical outlet so he could actually charge his golf carts and transport my clients from my sales office to actually Brickell Heights community. So I actually forced him to give me an exclusive so he couldn't advertise any other development community. So that was definitely pioneering. Like, hey, you want my power? You gotta give me some power. Anyway, City of North Miami. Actually, City of North Miami is home for me. I grew up in Bay Harbor, but spent all of my childhood here in North Miami, and still, to this day, all of my services are in the City of North Miami. I went to pre-K in North Miami. My grandfather had one of the original businesses, an Army-Navy store on 6th Avenue and 124th Street in North Miami. So lots of history there. All my kids went to school in North Miami. I learned how to play tennis in North Miami. So it's an amazing city, really diverse, great quality of life, and just really focused on supporting businesses and its residents. And then, historic Virginia Beach. I've always been a cyclist and a runner. My favorite view of the city of Miami is traveling west on the Rickenbacker Causeway, the skyline of Miami. So, lifelong resident of Miami, and I'm sharing all this with you because I'm just so honored to be here and chat with all of you. So, let's, we're gonna talk a little bit about the history, the current situation in Dade County, and a little bit about the future. And so let's start. I'd like for each of you to share with me, what are some of the, Miami has really been focused on construction as well as tourism. Those were sort of the historical drivers of the economy. Where do you see things now in terms of diversification? And sort of name 3 things that you think are sort of positives.
Good morning, everybody. So from my perspective, over the last 19 years that I lived here, Miami has transformed into a place that everybody wants to live. But I think the core of really where Miami is going today is really focused around technology and innovation. This is truly becoming the tech hub, the tech ecosystem of the entire United States, if not only the entire world there. In addition to that, we're seeing this become a global financial center. You have some of the biggest hedge funds, some of the biggest investment firms moving down into Miami. And then you can't forget, we are the gateway to Latin America. So from the trade logistics side, there's no better place to be than in Miami here.
For me, it's sort of difficult to talk about it because I'm an architect, practicing here for 30 years, and have sat on the Urban Review Board for the last 8 years. So I've seen the proliferation of buildings without us thinking about transportation. I've watched the quote-unquote the destruction of Wynwood because we saw this space as one of the most exciting creative space for artists that eventually got, I think, destroyed. And I was part of that, since I approved most of the buildings that went up into that space. One of the things that is very, very important for us is, as architects and engineers, is to look at how we're dealing with transportation, and how we're dealing with the cost of living or housing for folks. It is very, very difficult. And I'm not sure whether or not we can balance innovation, development, because Miami, for me, is one of the most exciting cities in the United States, if not one in the world. One of the things that we do have here, I think, is some wonderful buildings that was done with wonderful architects. And for me, that is also an imagery for the brand of Miami. I'm hoping that those who are in charge of legislation would seriously think about the transportation. And those of us who are here in Miami, we need to look at mass transit not as a poor person's transportation, but a serious transportation so that we can alleviate the traffic that is snarling our expressways today.
Thank you so much. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to Invest Miami for this amazing event. But Jason, I think you took a lot of our answers, and Mr. Paul, you're right in terms of technology, in technologies. But one of the hub that Miami-Dade County is really known for, and I think heading on to technology, transportation, and all these is our economic in terms of the international trade. We are a hub for international trade, and what we have been doing on a global stage really affects our ports, our transportation system. And I sit on the TPO system, which is a network that kind of oversees a comprehensive transportation process, which deals with the seaport, the transportation of our city. In fact, today, one of the proposals that I have on the TPO is to see how we could diversify our transportation system, because our roads, if anybody have noticed, to get from here to South Beach is like taking you 2 hours. And we are exploring ways on how we could see if our waterways could be one of the means of transportation in Miami-Dade County. So in terms of all of these things that you add on, I would just add the international trade piece. Thank you.
I mean, I think that's, we do talk about transportation. We talked about traffic, and I think that's a great intro to you, Jason. And talk a little bit about one of the positives being a startup here in South Florida. Tell us a little bit about that journey, but kind of what you're doing to help with some of these potential issues which could impact our future.
Absolutely. So Freebie, it's a very interesting story. Born and raised here, the concept here in Miami-Dade County back in 2012. And when Freebie launched in 2012, the business model was not what it is today. We launched the service, yes, providing a free transportation service. All of our money at the time was generated through advertising, through Ms. Carson here, through brands like Coca-Cola, T-Mobile, Pepsi. And by providing this, advertising mechanism, it allowed us to provide free transportation. This is pre-Uber, pre-Lyft, pre-on-demand apps. This is before any of that. So as the market conditions started to ripen, and really we all saw Uber kind of break into this market, and us as a county, we pushed back and said, you can't just do this without asking permission. They kept going and going and going, and at the same time, we saw that as an opportunity. And we said, wow, we should develop technology that's similar to what Uber is providing, which is only going to help provide more value to our advertising clients. So we set out, we developed the Ride Freebie mobile app, we launched the app in 2015, and that's really when the business model of Freebie totally transformed. we had the village of Key Biscayne reach out to us, and they said, wow, we love what you guys are doing in South Beach, Miami Beach, downtown in Brickell. We have traffic issues, we have parking issues on our island. We do not want our residents to have to take out their vehicle to move around. Can you provide that service for us? And again, at the time, we were only making money through advertising, and we wouldn't consider Key Biscayne a major market, so we were not able to generate the right amount of revenue to provide that free transportation service. And we told them at the time that, you know, if you want a service like this, you're gonna have to fund it like public transportation. And they did. They gave us a 1-year pilot. After about 2-3 months, it was deemed a really, really big success. The ridership was through the roof. The feedback was tremendous. And one thing that we were really able to prove out was that this public transportation service was not just focused on the transit-dependent market. This was getting people that drive Mercedes-Benzes, BMWs, to leave their car at home and to use public transportation to move around their communities. Other municipalities here in Miami-Dade County saw that opportunity as well. We started pilot programs with them. And you fast forward today and we're providing this on-demand, door-to-door public transportation service for over 35 different cities throughout the state of Florida. And it has really proven to be one of the most equitable forms of public transportation. You are reaching the transit-dependent riders, the people that don't own cars, have lower incomes, that rely on public transportation. But then on the opposite end, you're now attracting these choice riders, people that have a choice to use their car or use public transportation. And as we all know here in South Florida, most people take their car anywhere they need to go to drive. We are trying our very best, and we're doing a great job of really just changing the habits of people. And what we see is that if you're able to provide a solution that is just as convenient, just as reliable, cost-effective, and safe as them driving their own vehicle by picking them up at their home, driving them door to door to where they need to go, doing it in a very cost-effective manner, and providing a great luxury experience along the way, that's how you're really creating change. And you're seeing this type of service, this micro-transit service, becoming one of the most popular forms of public transportation, not only here in Miami-Dade County, but across the entire world. And really, Miami-Dade County was the pioneer of this type of service here. So it is truly, again, something that has been extremely valued to a lot of communities. Miami-Dade County has truly embraced it. Many of the municipalities, City of North Miami, Aventura, which has probably one of the largest fleets within the state of Florida. Yes, they are truly embracing and making sure that people have solutions to get out of their car. So from the transportation side, it's all about innovation. It's all about opportunity and understanding how people need to move around to really create that change there.
I love your tagline, fun, green, free travel option. I mean, that's fantastic. And do you know what they call their drivers? Community ambassadors. I mean, what a great way to create culture. So you're doing some fantastic things in the community, and you are in both of the communities. We're both nailed in the mirror. Let's talk a little bit about some pending legislation and regulations and initiatives that you all are monitoring in the public center. So, Mayor, I'm gonna turn it over to you. And I thought what was really interesting. One, the quality of your communication. Yes, I went on the City of North Miami website, and just so proactive and so open. So I applaud you for that, because I just think the transparency is really important. And so, looking at your strategic plan, your strategic plan, I mean, being a student of business and being in business, I mean, it's so great to have goals. So, once again, I applaud you for that. So I'm sort of curious, your priorities, which I'm going to read, right from, your website: public safety, economic stability, smart city hubs, a green and sustainable way of life, affordable housing, social service programs, customer-centered government services, streamlined government processes, and infrastructure improvements. And that's a pretty long list.
Yes, it is.
But what are you really, spending most of your time on, and what is the community? What are they focused on?
Well, we know what's going on around Miami-Dade County. It's the same what's going on around the nation. We see it here in North Miami, infrastructure issues, housing, et cetera, et cetera. But going back to the question that you first asked about what are we currently watching in terms of the legislation that's going on, if we are watching the Florida legislature and us as cities, we are terrified because of the preemptions that's been happening. But the Live Local Act is a wonderful law that a comprehensive plan, hopefully if it does improve with the implementation of it is correct, that's an answer to our affordable housing in the, in the state of Florida. So we do applaud the state for that in terms of legislation. However, the caveat to that, in the same law, they also take rights of cities. So I know my friend Mayor Howard from Aventura, that's something that we as cities, we are terrified with what's happening within the state of Florida, especially at the legislature. But at the national level, the EPA and the federal government have put a lot of different programs for cities as well as North Miami. Our infrastructure is one of the most critical things. If you see the plan and everything that we have on our website, we are focusing on fixing a water sewer pipe that we have in different infrastructures that's going on around the state. But there's billions of dollars, and the EPAs are changing their rules every other day in terms of different stuff that cities and municipalities could do to apply for those. So these are two of these legislations that the Live Local Act that we follow very closely on the federal level. The EPA Act, and through the federal act, there's some other good legislation that the Fed has done through the Federal Communication Act. And we in the city of North Miami was one of the first cities to start the Smart NOMI Act, which you mentioned, which providing free internet access to every household in the city of North Miami. And we have about 20,000 free connectivity of programs that we give to residents in the city of North Miami.
What's the population of North Miami? I tried to research it. It ranged from 30 to 60,000. No. So
we had 62,000, and that's counted, absolutely. So around 62,000.
Okay, great. So Neil, talk to us a little bit about your plans for Virginia Beach and historic preservation, and how do you marry that with sort of the needs of just doing breakthrough, and you're an architect, which I didn't even know, design.
Can I see a show of hands whoever had the pleasure of visiting Virginia Beach? Oh, stop it. What? But that is amazing. That is amazing. We have this wonderful, wonderful beach. For those of you who don't know it, it is the first, quote unquote, colored beach established in South Florida during Jim Crow era. And it's for those people who no one wanted to have around in this space. And it's a beach. It's one of the most pristine beach that is still within the urban core. It is a fragile space. It is word this properly. It is so dangerous for us because every hurricane that has met Florida has destroyed that beach fondly. And one of the wonderful things that we have going for us is that folks like you, all of you who raised your hand, you come every week to help pick up small little plastics, dirt. Every year, we have over 1,000 volunteers that come out and do this work for us. And one of the things that I need to mention to you, that we have not resolved the issue of making the beach and making the space available to all of us. At this moment, Virginia Key Beach is looking to develop a historical civil rights museum. It has been on the docket for 18 years. 18 years. I was just appointed 9 months ago to head that effort to put up a museum. The question for me is whether or not a museum should be at this fragile space. You know? It is the wish of the community to have a museum, but whether or not that museum, as we see and we think about museum, should be there. I think what we need to do is to look at the entire 82 acres and begin to look at how we can do another type of museum, where we have this wonderful thing called the phone and the AI, and just move through the space, because we have some very endangered species at Virginia Key. We have crocodiles, we have sea turtles, we have some of the most endangered blue butterfly. All of these things are on this beach that is being threatened every day. And so to put up a museum in this space is a little bit, I'm not sure if I'm being correct in my comment, a little bit inappropriate. However, we can rethink what a museum should look like. And I'm hoping that within the next year or so, we break ground on this in Toronto.
Well, that's exciting. How many visitors do you have per year visiting the beach? Just sort of curious.
On a weekly basis, we have over 800 visitors. And we have over 400 volunteers that comes through during the month. As a matter of fact, last month we had over 500 volunteers. American Airlines, for those of you who are running large corporation, we had American Airlines showed up with 200 people and picked up over, I think it was 80 pounds of garbage on a Saturday. 200 people. And they flew from all over the country to come to this space called Virginia Key Beach and do that volunteering. I'm not sure how it's happening, but it's very, very encouraging.
So anybody who wants to join the initiative, clearly.
You know, I see a lot of business here that I need to see you there. I need to see you on the beach with your little short pants.
So I think I'm now getting the final 1 minute notice. So any other things that you want to add? Parting comments relative to the future of Miami-Dade County?
First of all, I want to thank Invest Miami, but despite all the craziness that's going on for some of us in Tallahassee, we do here in Miami-Dade County see a bright future, especially under Daniel Levine-Cava and all of the major things that's happening in terms of transportation, the Miami-Dade TPO, or the Miami-Dade Beacon Council, as well as what's happening in the space of doing some stuff for the city. So I do think that we are in a much better place in Miami-Dade. The future is looking bright for us.
Echo.
Yeah, the last thing I would say is that, we need to focus as this major county community, all the different municipalities, in collaborating together. We're all working towards the same goal. Yes, we all have, different various challenges within each of our different communities, but us as stakeholders, especially everybody in this room, we all need to continue to come together, provide solutions, share ideas, and just make sure we're continuing to move this county forward.
Great. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you all for your service, and it's been a pleasure.